When we decided to rewrite our lives, we didn't know exactly how we were going to earn a living. We just knew that we wanted location-independent freedom. So we tried a lot of things. We tried making UGC videos. We took courses. We experimented with dropshipping. We tried blogging. And I'm not disparaging any of these. There are people doing incredibly well in all of them. We went into each one of those knowing that they were legitimate paths. So we were constantly testing new platforms, and essentially we were spreading ourselves too thin. We always knew we couldn't build 5 businesses at once. So we made a rule. And that rule was that the first thing that would show signs of life, proof, the first thing that gave us some traction, we would stop everything else and we would double and triple down on that. No more dabbling, no more chasing, full focus. Eventually, one thing started showing signs of life. They were small signs, but they were real life. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't viral, and it certainly wasn't overnight. And to my surprise, that thing was an Etsy shop. And honestly, we didn't start it thinking that it was gonna be our main thing. At best, we thought it would be a side hustle. I didn't see it as a serious, scalable business or something that could ever reach 6 figures. We completely underestimated it, and we were wrong. Even then, we weren't ready to go all in. We needed more proof. So instead of committing, we did more research and we dove in headfirst into YouTube. We tried to weed out the hyperbolic ones, the get-rich-quick ones, the snake oil type salesmen, and a lot of the ones that came in with strong YouTube energy. By the way, I'm gonna interrupt myself real quick. I wanna spare you the noise. At the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you real YouTubers who gave us real, honest Etsy information. No hype, no fantasy, just practical guidance that I personally found very helpful. Now, back to the video. Eventually, we came across some incredible apps that let you peek behind the curtain, see what other shops are doing, and see what other products are selling. You can even see estimated revenue numbers. I remember thinking it's kind of wild that this even exists, but it does. I'll link a few of those tools in the description. What we found surprised us. There weren't just a few 6-figure shops. There were many, and even some 7-figure shops. Some of them have warehouses, staff, and full production teams. And others are solopreneurs working alone in a home office, or like us, traveling full-time. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't a hobby platform. This was a real marketplace. Once we were 100% convinced that we weren't wasting our time, we went all in. So now it was time to turn it into a real legitimate business and not just a side hustle. So if you remember, I mentioned that uncomfortable thing in the beginning that most people won't do. And that uncomfortable thing is the grind. So after the excitement fades and the first few listings go up, after the adrenaline disappears and when the sales are slow, when nothing happens for days, when it's repetitive, when no one's applauding, that's the uncomfortable part. And that's where most people quit. But that's where the real business is built. You've got to put a lot of lines on the water before you get bites. And it's through listing, testing, and improving, and doing it over and over again that you start learning what works, what converts, and what doesn't. Whatever types of products interest you, use the research tools. Make sure to study other shops that sell those products. See what's moving, what's not, and what's getting good reviews. Look at what's selling consistently and then ask yourself, can I improve this? Can I refine this? Can I put my own spin on this? Maybe you find a shop making a killing designing Yorkie blanket. That doesn't mean you copy it. That means that you put your own spin on it. Maybe it's a new aesthetic, your own touch, a new design. Maybe it's not even a blanket. Maybe it's a Yorkie mug, a custom name option, Yorkie Mom designs. The point isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to study what's working and build intelligently. Not starting from zero every time, not chasing shiny objects. You did your research, you know it sells, and you know there's a demand. So now it's not about guessing, it's about execution. I see it all the time. People love the excitement of starting something new. The branding, the brainstorming, the first few designs. But after a couple of months, when it gets repetitive, they get bored and start something new. And then repeat the cycle over and over again. Not because the idea was bad, but they left before the compounding started. That cycle keeps people in motion, but not in progress. So the bigger lesson, most people won't even start. And most who do start won't stay long enough to give it a real chance. It's not about the platform, it's about the focus and staying power. Etsy was our first real hit, and we still run that shop today. And since then, we've opened others. But it all started with choosing one thing and staying long enough for it to work. So if Etsy sounds interesting to you, I attached some really helpful links in the description below. The research tools we used, the apps that helped us validate the market. I also want to point you to a couple of creators who genuinely helped us. Check out Hannah Gardner. I learned so much from her, especially when it comes to strategy and marketing. I don't even know if she has a course, but her free YouTube content is extremely valuable. And check out Starla Moore. She's excellent when it comes to real Etsy business practices, staying compliant and avoiding intellectual property mistakes. And she's an expert on Printify, which we use for one of our shops. She's also a manager at eRank, which is one of the tools that we use, and I put a link in the description below. I've included affiliate links. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps out our channel. Thank you so much for watching. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe. And if you have questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them.